Well, hello everyone. It's Wednesday and I have a few things to share. And when I say a few, I mean a few. I've been not in the mood to do really anything. I've been binge watching these other videos of a different craft, and it's made me want to do that, and I cannot find my tools. So it's so annoying. I'm one of these people where if I get a thought in my head and I want to do something, I want to do it right now. I don't want to wait. I don't want to have to order supplies and wait for them to come in and all that good stuff. So yesterday, I ran out to Walmart and I needed some interfacing, and there was something else I needed. Well, anyways, while I was there, I looked over in their minuscule yarn section to see if they had any more of the Bernat Baby White. And of course they didn't. Their whole 12-foot long aisle is empty. It's just empty. So I couldn't get that. But while I was there, I came across a killer deal. They had a big 10-pound box of polyfill. And just because the cardboard part was open, now if you ever buy it like that, it's a big cardboard box, and inside it's a giant plastic bag that's tied shut. Well, the plastic bag is still tied shut. But because that cardboard box was open, they had it on clearance. So instead of paying like $35 for it, I got it for $19.87, I think it was. And I didn't really need it yet because I had just bought a box last week. But, you know, I couldn't pass on that deal. So I snatched it up. And I picked up a few fat quarters. And then when I'm trying to find, like, my rotary cutter and just to make life easier, for the life of me, I've looked everywhere in this disaster and made it more of a disaster hunting for that stuff. So now I have a big mess to clean up, as usual. Oh, Lord knows I don't like a horizontal surface because it just all piles up. And it's my own fault. I'm the only one using the space, and I'm the one making the mess. So I have a big mess to clean up. So anyways, I didn't get to play the way I wanted to, so it just kind of discouraged me. So I didn't really make much. So what I did manage to do is I have 2 orders. And I did manage to finish one, and it was the one that came in first. And I was waiting on the, like the dragon eyes, cat eyes, snake eyes, and I placed my order. And Amazon's not so fast anymore. Not sure what's up with that. So I wait, and I get them in, and it's not what I wanted. They are, like, you get the back, you get the part of the eye that pokes through the fabric, and then you get a separate piece, which is the actual eye that you have to glue on. So it's like getting a cabochon that you have to put in a bezel, and I'm like, no, this isn't what I wanted. Can I make it work? No, because do you think there are 4 eyes the same? No. So I have to order again and wait. And I finally get the eyes in. And do you think there were 4 exactly the same? No. But there were some that were close enough. It was close enough that I think it looks okay. So in this order, the person wants one of these mind flayers that I made a while back for the dungeon. And then the dungeon shut down on me, unfortunately. But they chose the black one. I do not remember the name of the designer. I'll have to look it up. But these are interesting. They're pretty cool. They're not the ordinary thing. And I have not been taking them to market. I don't know. It just like didn't fit. But a lot of you guys suggested that I should take them anyways. So that leaves me with one more. I'll probably take it. But with that order, her husband says he wanted a mimic book, and that is what I needed those eyes for. So I got the mimic book made. I did this one first. And see, they're yellow, but these have a little bit of red in them, and those don't. But I think it looks okay. So this is a Shield Maiden design, the pattern. And I did it out of Home Slim and Sweet Snuggles. No, I did not. I did this out of Parfait Chunky with chocolate and cream. I do have a couple of items that I did out of the Home Slim and Sweet Snuggles. That's why I'm getting confused. Yeah, the Java is just too dark. It almost looks black, so that wouldn't have worked with this. So we got the mimic book done. And then her mom found out that she was ordering from me, and she wanted one of the cats that I like to do. The tuxedo cat, which I'm completely sold out of and just haven't gotten back to making any. And she wanted the hardest one, the calico. So I got this one finished up yesterday. I started it Monday night, and I had everything done except for the front legs, the tail, and then sewing the tail and the head on. So I finished this up yesterday, and he looks so cute. And yes, I will continue to pick fluff off if I see it. I have to. I cannot not do it. And I may end up wearing it on my shirt. And especially if my shirt is black, it will stand out like a sore thumb. I'm always covered in fluff. So be prepared. So on this particular calico, I did a couple of things different. I gave it an extra spot on the body because it's a lot of white, I think. And I did do the ears the way the pattern said to do it this time, mainly because I couldn't remember how I did it before, and I don't have one to look at. But I think he turned out adorable. And this is Parfait Chunky in black, tangerine, and white. And I used 16mm sinker eyes and gave him green eyes. And some anti-pilling acrylic to do his nose and mouth. So that order, as soon as I get it packed into a box and get it weighed, will be ready to go when they are back. They are traveling until the 1st of May, or they travel the 1st of May, something like that. But it'll be ready for them when they are. Then my other order, it'll be quick. I just need to sit down and do it. It's a couple of chubby bunnies and a couple of chicks and eggs, so that won't take me long. These were the ones, especially the cat, that took some time. So there is that. Now on, I don't remember which day. It doesn't really make a difference. I wanted to test out how big Myrtle the turtle will come out if I did yarn over instead of yarn under. And it's just the tiniest little bit bigger. But I did do a Myrtle and terracotta, and I believe this color is sand with 22mm eyes. And I've had people asking me where I get the eyes that I'm using on these turtles. They are from Amazon. They are 22mm, a little bit bigger than what I would want to use. Normally I do an 18, and I know I've said this before, But I ran out of 18s, so I went up to 20. I ran out of 20, so I'm using the 22s. Some of them, because of the type of the backs that are on them, I just refuse to use until I can find replacement backs. I cannot do that knowing that there's a chance of that back splitting and the eyeball falling out. So we did a little Myrtle. In case I didn't say, Myrtle the Turtle is a pattern by Chastity Ann Design. It's very popular. Heather's the one that turned me on to this pattern. Heather from Cottontail Crafts, if you don't know who she is. And I love this pattern. It's so quick. It's so easy to do. And they're like, they come out a nice size. Now, normally I do the yarn under, so it comes out a little bit smaller than this. I find when I do yarn over, I have a tendency of getting holes, and I don't like the holes at all. So I try to stick with yarn under, but I was curious. I wanted to see how much bigger it would be. So we have the Myrtle the Turtle. And in the last video, I mentioned that I was working on this project that took me like 12 hours to do. Now, I don't remember who, but somebody warned me against this pattern. Like, I can't remember who it was. And when I first saw they were, showing it on Instagram and it was getting ready to come out, I was like, that is absolutely the coolest thing. And I bought the pattern and I sat on it for a long time. And then I saw that Tracy did it. Tracy from Travel Crochet. She did it. And I'm like, I bought it and I forgot that I bought it. And that reminded me, seeing her do it. And so I decided I'm going to do it. What a nightmare. What a stinking nightmare. This pattern will probably be one and done. Never make it again. It was very expensive. I don't know. I mean, I said that about the anchor and I ended up making another, and I sold both the anchors that I made. In the second time around, it was easier. This particular pattern, I don't know that it will be easier the second time around. I feel like I had to redo almost every part of this like 3 times. It just wasn't coming out. You use 100,000. Okay, that's an exaggeration. But you use a lot of stitch markers to be able to line up stitches, but then still stitch counts don't come out right. And then you're doing slip stitches, and it says to do them loose, but okay, what is loose? If you do too loose, you're going to get holes. If you do too tight, you can't work into it. So finding that happy spot is a little difficult. I know you're just dying to see what this is. I probably won't ever make it again. It does look really cool, though. It is cool. And I did take some liberties because by the time I struggled with everything else on this, I was not going to make the crochet dies for this item. So I used 30 millimeter sinker eyes and then made separate eyebrows and crocheted or sewed them on. And I think it looks pretty cool myself. But anyways, let me show you what we have here. This is Matilda. I think it's just pronounced Matilda, the sea turtle. It is freaking cool. But it is very hard. This pattern is 41 pages. 16 pages is just the shell. So you make each one of these pieces separate. The last thing that you do on it is you change to the lighter color and you slip stitch around. And then when you go to join them, you have specific stitches that you place your stitch markers in. And then you have to line them up. Like first you'll sew together or crochet together this strip down the center. And then you have to start adding these. That took me the longest time to do because it was not lining up right for me. It was not coming out right. It was like, it had the weirdest shape. So I had to frog it out and try and redo it. Well, I get the first side, and that one looked fine. Then I go to do the second side, and I'm starting to have problems with it. Now, I don't know if these are supposed to pooch out like that. I don't care for it that it does do that. I don't know. This part here wants to curl up on me all the time. I'm not sure if it's because it should have more increases in it to make it not do that, or if it's because of the head and you crochet behind the head with the shell. I don't know. But it's so different from other patterns that I've done. I haven't done a lot of turtle patterns because I like Myrtle and I like All From Jade's little sea turtle. But this was a challenge, and I like a challenge, but I don't like a frustrating challenge. And this was a frustrating challenge. So you're going to have all this stuff done. You're going to crochet in your legs, your feet, your head. And then this belly section is made separate. And then, as you can tell, you come back and you crochet it on. Which is, you know, different from most of them. They just close up the belly with decreases. But I think because this one is so big is why the piece is made separate. And then crocheted in. I love how the flippers are done, where it looks like it has the little leg part coming out. Now, the only thing with the flippers, and if I had thought about it while I was doing it, you make your part, and then you go to close it up. You have half double crochets and increases and stuff to give it this part here, but you skip 9 stitches, 8 stitches, something like that. And you go back and you do a round, and then you crochet it together, and it gives it this little arm part. Well, you skip those stitches at the beginning. Now, to get the other side so that you have the nice, pretty side, see how those look different? It's because the pretty side is on the bottom. Instead of skipping those stitches in the beginning, you go ahead and like work backwards with this part and leave that opening at the other end so that, I'm not sure that it would work, but it sounds to me like it would work, so that you would have the pretty side facing up on both flippers. And the back flippers are the same way. You got one's the pretty side and one is the back side. Most people wouldn't notice it, but the crocheting people, if you crochet, you notice it. The shape of the head is very unique. I like that. But after that struggle, there was no way on this earth I was going to do the crocheted eyes and try and sew them on. And the head is one of the things that you do towards the end. So when I got to a certain point and it's starting the decreases, I went and looked ahead to see where the eyes are going to be placed. And I did my best guess and put the sinker eyes in. And of course, the only non-holographic color discs that I had. And at this point, I did not want to take the time to paint my own eyes. I wanted to be done. I was over it. So it's got the little rainbow eyes in there. So then I let it set aside. And yesterday I went back to it and did the eyebrows. Now, if you are doing this pattern and you do not want to do the crocheted eyes and you want to use the safety eyes, like I said, these are 30 millimeter. This is Home Slim Sweet Snuggles Light with the 30 millimeter eyes. So I put them in, and then I went back and I chained 6 and did a return row of 5 single crochets and then sewed the eyebrow on to give it that look. And then I had to stitch on the nose, and it took me a few attempts to get the nostrils to even remotely look even, but I think they look okay. And these are puff stitches done as you're in the round, so you don't have to go back and sew them on. And usually when I do solid color myrtles, I take whatever the shell color is that I use, and I'll do some top stitching in the head and on the fins. And this one, they do it in the round. Now, it's cool. If I paid myself by the hour for this, at minimum wage, this thing would be like well over $100. And as frustrating as it was to make, I feel like it should be like $100 million. So I don't know. If nothing else, it might draw people in. I mean, it's not huge. It doesn't stand tall. It is big. I mean, it's big. But it's like, it won't stand up to where it's going to draw attention. This will be one of those things that would have to be on your table and when they see it. I'm going to price it high. I'm not sure how high yet. But this was the most frustrating thing I have made to date. Absolutely the most frustrating thing. I don't know if I'll do it again. I mean, it's cool looking. It looks so cool. But there's got to be an easier way for this. For assembling this part. That was the most frustrating. Also, what I thought was frustrating was working into those slip stitches. And even though I was loose, you know, they don't, I don't know. It's hard. It is a hard pattern. You definitely, if you are a beginner or an intermediate beginner, don't attempt this. Do not attempt this at home. Yeah, this was hard. That's all I can say, is it was hard. And to see that it was 41 pages long, it is very intimidating. There are things that I do like about it, but there are more things that I dislike about it than I like about it. I love how it looks, but I don't know that I could do it again. Now, since this pattern was published, I had to go and get my free copy from her from their Ko-fi shop. There's a modification for using blanket yarn because they say sometimes blanket yarn behaves differently. Now this is chenille, and I used the 6mm hook with the Home Slim, and I still got those puckers in these parts, especially these side ones. So, and it wasn't the easiest thing to stuff either because of the way it's assembled. You know, you think you have enough in there and you start closing it up more, and then it's like, no, not enough, need more. So, yeah. This is by Cody Loops, and there's an Etsy and a Ko-fi shop. You can find them on Instagram, and then they link all those different things in their, what do you call it? The bio. So I did that, and I started to do this other pattern that I bought a long time ago, and I hadn't even downloaded it. So I had to figure which Etsy account did I buy it under. And I went back and I downloaded it, and I didn't realize or didn't remember that it was a Rose and Lily pattern. And most of their patterns that I've tried, I have struggled with, especially the Stingray. But I was like, okay, I'll try it. And it's for one of the dachshunds. And you start with the head. And I almost finished the head. And it's like huge. It's giant. And I'm just like, nope, I'm not doing this. And I was using Home Slim, so yes, that made it bigger. But it's like huge. Just huge. And I don't have enough Parfait Chunky colors to do it in normal dog colors. Now, if I wanted to do it in some wild rainbow color, I could certainly do that. But it was way too big. It's like, no, I don't want one that big. I don't want to do it that big. So I stopped. And I had started to do another one of these, and I stopped. I got just body shape. Now I can go back and finish that one, but something looked off on it. Like, I think I messed up on it somewhere, and I'm not sure where. And I wanted to do the darker brown out of the chenille brights. I think they call it chocolate. And it's like, maybe it's just the color that makes it look off. Not sure. But before I make anything else, I am going to finish up my other order that I have. 4 items, 2 bunnies and 2 chicks and eggs, and be finished with that. And supposedly I have a market this weekend on Saturday, but I have not gotten any information yet. It's brand new. Hopefully they had enough people sign up. I mean, I did pay for it already. But they'll move it over to one of the other markets if they end up not doing it. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that I get that information soon. So, like, what time can we show up to set up? Where are we going to be located at? All those good things. I know it's supposed to be 10 to 2, so probably 8 o'clock you can start setting up. But I wish they would just tell you sooner. Why do they wait to the last minute? That drives me nuts with some of these markets. I'm like, I think it's because of that one farmer's market where I signed up in January, and we're like a week away from when the first one was supposed to be. Then it had been a few months, and I contact them and said, where's the information? And they say, oh, well, we don't have you on our list. I'm like, excuse me? I can show you all the email correspondence. So when I don't hear from them, I think that experience somewhere in the back of my mind just like makes me panic a little bit. And yeah, I don't know. I'm sure that's what it is. But anyways, I have rambled enough, and I want to say thank you to everyone. I have topped 48,000 subscribers. I am just in shock. I don't know what happened, but thank you all who have subscribed. Thank you for watching, even if you are not a subscriber. And, well, if you're not a subscriber and you watch my videos, if you did subscribe, and I don't usually ask, but I'll make this one time an exception, you can help me get to 50,000, and then I'll be at the halfway mark of getting one of those pretty silver YouTube plaques, you know. Only take another 3 or 4 years to get there. Anyways, all right, I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you again, and we will see you in the next video.